Good morning. It's a little after 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast of Florida, and welcome to Coffee and Tea with OMG. And we don't have the smiley faces this morning. This is a tough morning, isn't it, honey?
Yes, quite tough and worrisome.
It is really worrisome. I mean, it is hard to make this content this morning, so let's try to get through this. First of all, we did not watch the inauguration or the after or any of that. However, obviously we have been watching the reporting of it and the videos and seeing it anyway. And, you know, there was a few light moments, so we'll start with those, okay? So we can have a little bit of a smile. It was interesting when Trump then, I guess, was starting, to talk about in the rotunda. So we had the rotunda initially where he had the swearing in because they couldn't go outside, which was weird. And then the after thing at the Capital One Arena. So in the rotunda with all the dignitaries and you had all the formers, you had Biden and Harris and you had Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, George W., all of them. So the camera panned to Hillary when Trump goes, and I'm going to rename the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. And she literally, because everyone's sitting there solemn, and she goes, like, that was priceless. Then you had George W., who looked like a kid that was on the stage at a grade school play where he's looking awkward and weird and wondering if anybody's watching him and is he going to start doing something inappropriate? And he's like that was funny and odd. And then Biden sitting there, at a pretty important moment right after, I think, the swearing in. I'm not sure what it was. But then he did the Catholic sign of the cross as though God save us all. I mean, maybe that's appropriate at that moment, but it sort of was a foretelling and forewarning, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's what he said in his last address to all of us was basically be careful of rising oligarchy and fascism and all those things. And we need protectors of democracy. So big warnings there. And then also we had him, it appeared, people go like this, they touch their face when they're listening to something, go on and on. But he appeared to touch the bridge of his nose with the middle finger. I don't know. Maybe that was just imaginary to us, but that was interesting. But then it got not interesting because it got dark and bad. And we'll start with the part where Elon Musk bounds up to the stage at the Capital One Arena, right?
Yep.
I mean, as though he won something, as though he had been elected. He was full, and everyone says he's awkward, he's on the spectrum. Okay, I have family and friends on the spectrum. People gave Governor Walz so much crap for his son being emotional and crying about his dad accepting the nominee to be the candidate for the vice presidency with Kamala Harris, and was emotional, and he is legit a kid who is on that spectrum. And now this is all okay, what Elon Musk did, and they're giving so many excuses.
Yep.
I'll again talk more about it in my solo. I've already addressed it. There is no, and more importantly, we didn't vote him in for anything, but he acted as though he just more than won the lottery because he's got more money than anybody in the world by far. So he's almost a half a trillionaire. And the second person, Jeff Bezos, who was there, has half of what he has. So the richest man ever in the history, by far. So he's jumping around and being just unbelievably odd. And then he gives the salute.
Yep. That was pretty scary.
Scary and shocking. Mike has been, showing it because in our generation especially, we are shocked about that.
Yep.
And don't try to come in here and say it was the Roman salute. Oh, he didn't mean to. It was just a enthusiastic gesture. No, because number one, he did it twice, so it was very intentional. It wasn't an accidental oopsies of his arm. Right. He did it intentionally. It was very forceful. He had such
it was a chest pumping moment.
Oh yeah, and he had a mad face, and it was very to the chest and up there. It was no question. And the Roman salute is actually where the Yahtzees and the Ashism, they took it from the Romans. They were inspired by them. They used it purposefully, and they changed it slightly. The Roman one is lower with the hand down. The other one is up at the angle, and that is exactly what he did.
Right.
So no two ways around that. And we were stunned that there was ever going to be a day in our history after World War II where, with our American flag and the presidential seal on a stage in America for the world to see, we have the man who thinks he's the co-president and that Trump is thanking for getting him elected. And he is giving that gesture that in other countries is illegal. There are many countries where it is illegal to do what he did, particularly in Germany. So, hang on. This is my father. I've talked about him before. B-17 bomber pilot, pew-pewed down, was captured as a prisoner of war in Germany by the Yazis.
This is my uncle who served in the army. He landed on Normandy.
And when he landed, he had to step over his fallen
Yes, the fallen soldiers, and he's survived that, and then went and fought through France. He fought in the Battle of the Bulge, where 20,000 fell, and he continued to fight through Germany and served 25 years and retired as a major.
And they are saving these other countries from the Yazis. And can you imagine what other countries are thinking when they see this? And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, it was followed by, I don't know, to us it almost seems worse, I'm not sure if it would be or not, but him pardoning 1,500 of the convicted January 6th insurrectionists, including he did commutations for those that had been convicted of the seditious conspiracy, including Enrique Tarrio, the head of that, where he was put away for 22 years. I'm stunned, speechless. To us, that's the worst.
Yeah, I don't know how the 140 Capitol Police feel about that right now.
Well, we do know.
You know, they were beaten, bloodied. It was bad.
Yeah, I just told them careful because we're still on TikTok, and I don't know what we can say on here or not. It's the truth. You know, and many of those that were there on January 6th were there for this day as well, and for this January 6th and this event. And what a slap in the face to the people who say that they care about blue lives. Or, as we were just saying about with the salute, who care about military lives. That it's just unbelievable to us. We will never understand. You tell people and show people about January 6th all the time. If all the other stuff about the grabbing the you-know-what and the Russia stuff and everything else and all his convictions of being a felon and being a fraudster and you name it wasn't enough, why wasn't January 6th? And then this worse than slap in the face, because now the message to everyone out there is, yep, you can do whatever you want to whoever you want, and it's okay.
Yep.
I mean, and remember, the whole reason they're doing all this about the border and all these executive actions about undocumented immigrants, they keep saying, well, it's sad, but they broke the law, and it is the law.
Yeah.
Isn't it the law that these people on January 6th broke? We saw them with bats that had nails in them.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Against officers, police officers. If these were people of color that did that, and then Biden pardoned them, people on the right lose their ever-loving minds anytime there's even a protest, like a Black Lives Matters protest. Remember, Trump wanted to use all kinds of guard and military. He was bringing the military against American citizens for protesting whenever there's anything at all. This was way worse than anything we've ever seen. And it was our nation's capital and the peaceful transfer of power. And they built a scaffold for Mike Pence. And it's all okay. And he let them all go and said it's fine. Wow. So
I can't believe every time I see the videos of the Capitol attack, it so saddens me, and it makes me wonder, why didn't this change the outcome of the election?
I don't know. And all these, Republicans that at that time, remember, they said it was terrible. Lindsey Graham did, Kevin McCarthy, they spoke on the floor, said how terrible it was. And then they took it all back and bowed to the you-know-what. And the same thing for the Yahtzee stuff. They all, including J.D. Vance, called Trump a Yahtzee. At one time or another, said he was. So this is a tough day, folks. We're going to all try to get through it. We're going to be here. I'll be making solo content. But let's move forward, see what we can do to resist.